Hello friends, welcome to the part 3 class of unit 2, the Cinderella story. In our previous class, we acquainted with Cinderella. നമ്മൾ സിൻഡ്രല്ലയെ പരിചയപ്പെട്ടു. We read her story, the unfortunate incidents that occurred in her life about her mother, her stepsister, her stepmother. And here were some of the questions that I asked you in our last class. And the first question's answer is this. When the stepsisters said that you can go to the ball when the beggars hold the ball, what did Cinderella feel? ഭിക്ഷക്കാരുടെ ബോളിന് പോകാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ സിൻഡ്രല്ലയ്ക്ക് എന്ത് തോന്നി? Cinderella was very upset. I hope this word is very familiar to you. വിഷമം തോന്നി. Upset when the stepsisters said so. Here is the answer of the other question. Her mother loved Cinderella so much that she would definitely have taken her to the ball. Pumpkin turned into a red coach, mice, horses, lizards, footmen, rags, beautiful clothes of silk and gold. Here you have to change B, C and D into a complete sentence. Just like how I did for question A. Pumpkin turned into a red coach. How would you change this then? Mice turned into horses. Likewise, you have to do it with the C and D answers. I hope you understood this. Shall we move on to the next part? If she does not come back before 12 o'clock, everything will turn back to their real self. What does this word real self mean? Real ശരിക്കുമുള്ള self. Real self means ശരിക്കുമുള്ളതുപോലെ ആയിത്തീരും. എന്തൊക്കെയാണെന്ന് നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം. Horses will turn back to mice. Imagine that situation when Cinderella is dancing at the prince's palace and suddenly this beautiful clothes of silk and gold turning back to rags, and the coach that she travels turning back into pumpkin. It will be really funny to watch. So here is a danger that Cinderella is going to face. We will find it out in the coming part of her story. Who are they? Can you guess who these people are? What is this place here? This person. Who can that be? Look at the dress he is wearing. Look at the beautiful dress that this lady is wearing. Although this person looks like an old lady, let's try to make a guess. Who can this be? What are the other people saying? Look at the expression of this lady, and what might they be saying? How beautiful she is. So this lady is commenting about this young beautiful lady, girl, that she is very beautiful. How beautiful she is. Can you repeat after me? How beautiful she is. I have put an exclamation mark at the end of it. I want to dance with her. I want to dance with her. Who is this person again? Let's find out. The ball. In this part, we will be learning more about the story of Cinderella, what happened at the princess ball. I hope you remember the meaning of the word ball. Cinderella went to the ball dressed in wonderful clothes. She rode in the red coach. 6 footmen waited on her. In the ballroom, she looked like a princess. Nothing was then heard but a confused noise. How beautiful she is! How beautiful she is! The prince noticed her at once. He danced only with her. Her sisters were now jealous of her, but they didn't recognize Cinderella. She went on dancing and forgot about the time. Then the clock started to strike 12. She now remembered the words of the fairy. She bowed to the prince and ran quickly out of the ballroom. Arriving home, she ran to seek out her godmother to tell everything that had happened at the ball. She said that she heartily wished she could go to the ball the next day as well, because the prince had invited her. Then her two sisters knocked at the door. Cinderella ran and opened the door. Here is a picture of Cinderella, and who are the other people here? This is Cinderella's stepmother. Here are Cinderella's step sisters. Let's see what they are saying. You stayed such a long time. നിങ്ങൾ കുറേ നേരം പാർട്ടി ബോളിൽ അവിടെ തങ്ങി. If you had been at the ball, you would not have been tired with it. The finest princess was there, the most beautiful that mortal eyes have ever seen. Here, look at the word princess. This is the feminine word for prince, Raja Kumari. Prince, Raja Kumaran, princess, Raja Kumari. So this old lady, the stepmother, is telling Cinderella about the princess that she saw at the ball. Do you know who that princess was? Does Cinderella know who that princess was? Clearly, right? It was Cinderella herself. അത് Cinderella തന്നെയായിരുന്നു. She must then be very beautiful indeed. How happy you have been. Could I not see her? Ah, dear sister, do lend me your yellow dress which you wear every day. ഡ്രസ്സ് തനിക്ക് തരുമെന്ന് ചോദിക്കുകയാണ്, എല്ലാ ദിവസവും ഇടുന്ന. അത് ബോളിന് പോകാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ്. Yes, to be sure. Lend my clothes to such a dirty cinder wench as you are. I should be such a fool. The stepsisters start with saying yes, to be sure. But is she actually intending to give her clothes to Cinderella? Cinderellaക്ക് ശരിക്ക് ക്ലോത്ത്സ് കൊടുക്കാനായിട്ട് അവൾ ആഗ്രഹിച്ചിരുന്നു. If you had been at the ball, said one of her sisters, you would not have been tired with it. The finest princess was there, the most beautiful that mortal eyes have ever seen. Cinderella seemed very indifferent to what they said. Indifferent. വ്യത്യാസമൊന്നും ഇല്ലാതെ. Indeed, she asked them the name of the princess, but they told her they did not know. Cinderella, smiling, replied, She must then be very beautiful indeed. How happy you have been. Could not I see her? Ah, dear sister, do lend me your yellow dress which you wear every day. Yes, to be sure, cried her sister. Lend me your clothes to such a dirty cinder wench as you are. I should be such a fool. The entire family burst into laughter. Here, this part is for loud reading. ഉച്ചവായനയ്ക്കുള്ളതാണ്. നിങ്ങൾ ഞാൻ വായിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം ഉറക്കെ വായിക്കണം ഈ ഭാഗം. നമുക്ക് തുടങ്ങാം. The next day, the two sisters were at the ball, and so was Cinderella, dressed even more magnificently than before. The prince was always by her side and never ceased to give his compliments and kind words to her. Cinderella forgot about the time. She thought that it was no later than 11 when she counted the clock striking 12. She jumped and fled, as nimble as a deer. In her hurry, she left one of her glass shoes in the ballroom. I hope you have loud read this part with me. So let's find out what actually happens here. Next day, Cinderella visited the ball. She went to the ball, danced with the prince. Dance ചെയ്തു. ആരുടെ കൂടെയാണ് ഡാൻസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പ്രിൻസ് കൂടുതൽ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നത്? സിൻഡ്രല്ലയുടെ കൂടെ തന്നെയാണ്. പക്ഷേ 12 മണിയായി. അപ്പോൾ Here I have underlined something as nimble as a deer. The word nimble simply means fast. So it translates into as fast as a deer. Man. Maninte atra vegathil. So something tragic happens here. What is it? In her hurry, she left one of her glass shoes in the ballroom. Glass shoes in the ballroom. Here is a picture, and you can see a glass slipper on the floor. She is leaving it behind. As she reached the coach, she heard the last ding-dong. Suddenly, the coach became a pumpkin. The horse turned into mice, and the footmen into green lizards. Her clothes became the old rags again. But the one shoe on her foot was unchanged. She reached home before her sisters arrived, so they did not know about her going to the ball. Here are 3 questions connected to the part that we just read, that we have learned today. Let's read these questions. I want you to answer these questions as your homework for the next class. Let's begin with the 9th question. Had Cinderella appeared in her old clothes, how would the prince have treated her? Old clothes-ilana Cinderella പോയതെങ്കിൽ പ്രിൻസ് എങ്ങനെ? നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാമല്ലോ ചോദ്യം എന്താണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. Why did Cinderella pretend to be asleep? Pretend, നടിക്കുക. Cinderella forgot the words of her fairy godmother on the second day. What may be the reason? Forgot, മറന്നു. Reason, കാരണം. Why did Cinderella forget the words of the fairy? That is a question here. In today's class and the classes we are about to take in the next week, we will be including a worksheet, 1 or 2 worksheets, where you can learn about some language elements. So here is one for you. This is called comparative adjectives. Please don't be confused by the title of this worksheet. It's very simple. So let's start with an example here. My car is big. Your car is big too. So these are 2 different sentences, and we are going to combine these 2 with the use of the usage as big as. So how can we combine them? My car is as big as yours. Can you repeat after me? My car is as big as yours. എൻ്റെ കാറ് നിൻ്റെ കാറിൻ്റെ അത്ര തന്നെ വലുതാണ് എന്നാണ് അർത്ഥം. Let's consider one more example here. Ananthu runs fast. Lakshmi runs fast too. Here the word that I used, here the adjective that I used for describing Ananthu's running and Lakshmi's running is fast. അനന്തുവിൻ്റെ ഓട്ടത്തിനെ പറ്റിയും ലക്ഷ്മിയുടെ ഓട്ടത്തെ പറ്റിയും ഞാൻ പറയാൻ ഇവിടെ ഉപയോഗിച്ച വാക്ക് എന്താണ്? ഫാസ്റ്റ് എന്നാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഫാസ്റ്റ് എന്നുള്ള വാക്ക് ഉപയോഗിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് ഒരു സെൻറ്റൻസ് ഒരുമിച്ചുണ്ടാക്കാം, ഒറ്റ സെൻറ്റൻസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാം. എങ്ങനെയാണത്? അനന്തു റൺസ് as fast as Lakshmi. Repeat after me, please. Ananthu runs as fast as Lakshmi. I want you to copy this to your notebook and do it as your homework for tomorrow for the next class. Reading is interesting. Watching TV is also interesting. So how can that be done? You do it for the next class. Let's move on to the second worksheet. It's a simple one too. So here, has, have or had. You have to fill the blanks with has, have or had. Let's consider 3 examples here. First one is Mary dash a book. Is it has, have or had? Mary is a single person, so I'm going to use the word has. Mary has a book. A rabbit dash long ears. Rabbit is also singular here, so we can use has. Rabbit has long ears. And let's take the 4th one. Skip this 3rd one. They dash breakfast at 6:30 in this morning. So here ഇത് നടന്ന് കഴിഞ്ഞ ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്, അതുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞു എന്നർത്ഥത്തിൽ had ഉപയോഗിക്കാം. ഞാനൊരു ഉദാഹരണം പറയാം. They had breakfast at 6:30 in this morning. So that is all. Try to do this as your homework as well. Hope you enjoyed today's class. If you have any doubts, please feel free to call to the given number. Thank you for watching.